All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Serve Brew. I'm Tori Townley. I have a Stranger Things mug today. I didn't bring my Serve Brew mug. Oops. Um, I'm so excited. We are talking my favorite thing, holidays, today on the Serve Brew. And you're going to be hearing a lot from these guys this season. This is actually our second holiday interview, but you're going to see this as the first. So I'm not going to tell you what the second one is. Anyway, I've got Dr. Joe and Miss Kelli Carson of the Memphis Dream Center. They're the directors there. Hey, guys. Y'all froze up. Oh, no.
Hey, good
There
morning.
you go. Now you're
Yeah.
back. Okay, good. How is it going there in Memphis? Can y'all hear
It
me?
is going great in Memphis.
We finally have some fall weather, so we're ready.
That's awesome. Yeah, today it's finally slightly cool in Louisiana, and I'm like, it's cold, it's freezing, I gotta go put on a sweater, I don't know what to do. But it's awesome. So cool. So for those of you guys who don't know, Dr. Joe and Miss Kelli are serious like heroes. Their story of how they came to be in this world of outreach is amazing. You can catch them on a past Serve Brew. I know we've done interviews before. So I don't want to take up a ton of their time, but if you don't know them, you need to get to know them. I'll be happy to connect you. They are like just people that if you're new in the world of outreach, you can look up to them like crazy. They have a heart for people that's beyond reason. And I just love you guys. So thanks for taking time today to talk holidays. So first of all, there is, this is kind of like a bonus feature. I wasn't planning on going here today, but you guys do trunk or treat outreach in October. And Miss Kay Moore, who's at the Birmingham Dream Center, she has come home. She's come to visit you guys and come home and told me, like, this is amazing. We have to do this. Oh my gosh, you have to go see it. So I was like, oh man, all right, we got to share this idea. So if y'all would tell us just like a little bit of the vision of that outreach, what does it look like? How do you pull it off? Just feel. Okay.
Okay, so we do trunk or treat at the Dream Center the week of Halloween. This year we're excited. We're actually doing it on Halloween on a Wednesday evening, and our youth group from the Life Church here in Memphis is actually going to join us and help host it. So that's a fun bonus for us this year. And so we set up in the parking lot of the Dream Center, and we'll have anywhere from 40 to 50 cars with their trucks decorated. And so the goal is for them to come, for volunteers and staff members will come and bring their vehicles, decorate, and they really go all out. It is so much fun. And we invite families in our community to come, and really the goal is to provide them a safe place. Many of our families that come to the Dream Center don't feel like they can go out after dark in their neighborhoods, that it's not always a safe place for them. And so we provide a safe and fun environment and atmosphere for families and children to participate. The children dress up in costumes, and we do some fun things. We provide dinner, and so we've done different things. We've done chili, we've done hamburgers the last couple of years, and this year we'll be doing a walking taco bar,
which is a great idea.
Super fun. I don't know if you know what that is. So walking taco bar is really that every person will get a bag of Doritos chips, like an individual sized bag, and they actually walk through the bar and that becomes the container. And so they fill their container with the meat, with all the toppings. And and then they have a fork, and they can just, so it's an easy, fun thing.
No cleanup.
Minimal cleanup. It's an awesome way to serve a lot of people really a full meal, and then we'll have some fun treats for the kids, cookies and drinks and things like that. So they come, they have dinner, the families will have dinner, and then the children get to trick or treat. We usually have a photo booth set up, and we'll have photographers there to take fun pictures for the families to take home with them. And then we'll provide, like I said, lots of cars. We'll have games set up in the parking lot. So again, it's just a fun evening. The families, we have received such great, this will be our third year to do this.
Yeah.
And we've received great feedback, and of the families we invite, we've looked at the last few years, and we've got about 98% participation from the invite. So really, almost every family comes that is invited. So that's been a big win for us, and just such a fun night for the families, for the volunteers, for our staff. We really look forward to this every year.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea it was even that extravagant. Miss Kay told me and I believed her, but I didn't know it was like that extreme. The taco bar is genius. And also, okay, I love that you guys set it up as like the youth group gets to be involved. I love when intersections like that happen and you're strategic with how the church gets to be involved, because it's an experience for them too. And then I think it's really important. I know there can be some controversy. Some churches do things for Halloween, some churches don't. Have you guys run into anybody, given some pushback on that? How have you navigated what that is? It taboo or is it not? I don't know what Memphis is like.
One thing we do ask the families when we invite is we ask that the children that all of the costumes are positive. We don't do anything dark or scary or anything like that. We make everything fun and upbeat. And again, we just consider it a night for families to come together. We talk a lot at the Memphis Dream Center. I'm sure many people watching do this as well, but we just talk a lot about this, just having that we are family.
Right.
And so for us, we really highlight it as a family night. We don't even, we do the trunk or treat, and people know it's around Halloween, but it's not, Halloween isn't really the focus. The focus is really family time together. And so our staff and our volunteers bring their children as well. So everybody's doing it together. So it's just a fun night. So we consider it just a fun family night. We say, you're not from the community, we're not from the church, we're all the MDC family. So.
That's so awesome. I love that. And I think people are going to be in the community. They're going to be doing something that night. So why not provide something amazing for them? That's an incredible opportunity. I love that mindset. And I will just say, for those of you who have not seen the pictures, I don't know, I think it's on the Memphis Dream Center Facebook. I'm sure it's all over Instagram, but the trunks really are elaborate, like insane. They're like parade floats. Like, you guys need
Yeah, it's fun.
That's so cool. Awesome. Okay, anything else to add on the trunk or treat idea before we shift to Thanksgiving?
No, I don't think so. I think that event, like any event, is just a great opportunity for us to connect more with families. We'll have many times other resources there, so that when the families come, the parents can go to the table, whether it's something to do with financial resources. We've recently opened a baby store, so if moms who are pregnant come, we immediately can connect them with another resource at another level for them. So I just think anytime you have an event, it's a great opportunity to connect with families on a relational level, but also connect them to whatever their need is.
Like this next weekend, we're having a workshop on how to buy your first.
Yeah.
And so, and so things like that, to be able to connect families to those opportunities, just always a win. And like Kelly said, I think the family aspect of it, we actually set up intentional groups of chairs and things for the parents and grandparents who come while their kids go around from car to car. We have an opportunity to sit with the families and just engage in conversation.
Yeah.
And again, doing life together and knowing that we're all in this together. And that's always been our heartbeat at the Dream Center.
That's so great. I love that so much. And I love that you said it's not like a standalone event. You guys are always thinking, how does this incorporate into the bigger picture? And oh my gosh, I could chase so many rabbits with you guys, because you say, oh, we just opened a baby store. Okay, we need to do a Serve Brew on that, because everybody's going to want to know, what's that about? That's awesome.
That may be one of the best things we've done in a while.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's going to be like a cliffhanger for people. I'm gonna tell people they have to go visit, and we're gonna do a follow-up Serve Brew. We're gonna break it down. I love it. Okay, so beautiful. I so love the heart behind all of the the trunk or treat idea. I love how you guys think. Tell us about your Thanksgiving outreach as a whole. There's one specific idea that I want to dive into for sure, but tell us like the big picture, what you guys have done in the past or what you're planning for this year.
Sure. We've done several things, from putting together Thanksgiving dinners as far as groceries with the full ham and turkey and the whole deal, and we even went to we purchased boxes, and so we would put all that in boxes, and we painted the boxes. I mean, to orange and gold and all of that. So I mean, just really elaborate, where we were doing hundreds of them and going to neighborhoods door to door, and so we've done that in the past. We've done, of course, groceries, and we've become a little bit more intentional recently. So, and you guys know, if you're doing anything in outreach, you know that there are light touches, and then there's ones that are a little bit more intentional, that develop relationships a little deeper. And so we've done both of those when it comes to holidays. So whether it's Thanksgiving or Halloween or Christmas, or I think you can't miss there. But as we've grown bigger and we've developed more relationship in the community, we've become a little more intentional, just simply for two reasons. Number one is resources. The bigger you get, the more resources get stretched, and so you have to think about who your target is and what you're trying to accomplish and things like that. So recently we've done two things. Number one is we do a family dinner night, again, for our youth leadership program, which is our after school program. And we do that we'll have 200 to 250 people that will come to a full sit down catered meal, Thanksgiving meal. And so we do that for those families. Again, these are families that we see every week. We see them on a regular basis. So they are family. I think last year we had these young girls who were in an orchestra that are part of our youth leadership program, and they performed a little string quartet, and it was beautiful. And I think they did Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something, but it was great, and it was a great way for them to be able to show off their talents. And again, the families engaged together. Our staff is a part of it. So our lead team even come in and they sit down and share a meal. Just great things happen when you break bread together. And so there's just something special about Thanksgiving as an opportunity to do that, to break bread with people and actually sit down and share life together. And so I just think that's a great win. And we've also connected with World Relief in our city. And World Relief is a refugee organization. It's a Christian organization, and they help settle refugee families that come into town. And so in our city, we have a lot of Ethiopian, Sudanese, Congolese families. And so we really intentionally focus on that African refugee population, because they live just a few blocks from the Dream Center, and so most of them. And so we literally picked them up in buses. We scheduled that, and then we brought them to dinner. We shared a quick little gospel presentation. It was probably the first time I'd ever worked with an interpreter, which was really strange if you've ever done that before. But it was a great opportunity to share a simple gospel message. But what we recognized is by the end of the night, so many of them were already believers, and we didn't know that. And they actually came back to us and sang hymns in their native language. And it was just one of the most beautiful things we've ever had happen.
Wow, that is amazing. Miss Kelli sent me a video of the worship that happened after that dinner, and I'm just like, I'm pregnant, so probably emotional, but like tears and chills. It was.
I watch it.
What'd you say, Miss Kelli?
I cry every time I watch it. I get emotional.
It was so heavenly, and just to think, like, you probably did not expect a moment like that to happen, and that's what God does with our willingness. It's so cool. So, I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Sorry, Tori. I was just going to say, I think that, and I think anytime, and you may be going to ask some questions, so I may be jumping ahead, but I think anytime we step into the world of our refugee friends, we have to be very intentional, but we have to be very sensitive.
Yes.
And so one of the things we did in preparing for this, number one, in connecting with an organization that these families already have a relationship, was really huge, because of the trauma they've been through, there's a lot of trust issues there. And so it's unlike, you can't go just knock on a family's door to be and invite to come, because their door was knocked on, was in their country, and it's soldiers coming to take their children. You just never know what they've been through. And so one of the things we did, we're very intentional about, is we hosted a small group leading up to this. And we went through a book. The name of the book is an incredible resource. It's called Seeking Refuge. And World Relief is a part of publishing this book. But it is so, it's just a great way to educate yourself and your volunteers and your staff. I just think it's very important, especially for something like this. These families are coming in. Many of these families that came to our dinner had not been in the States very long and in our city. Most of them did not speak the language yet, and had experienced just incredible trauma. And so we just wanted to be very sensitive to them and really care for them in the best way. And so even on our buses, when we picked them up, World Relief staff went with us. And so that way they were the ones knocking on the door. They had a relationship. There was already trust built. They came in and they rode with them. They sat at tables with them along with our volunteers. They really helped us step into the world, and really walked with us through those doors into these families' lives. But it was an incredible night. We even did things like we played. We actually allowed one of the refugees that came in that spoke some English. We asked him to help us with our Spotify playlist. And so he actually chose the music, which was much African music, a lot of African music. And that's what we played tonight. Again, we wanted to create an atmosphere where they felt comfort in a world where they just feel like such foreigners and aliens and outsiders right now. So we wanted to make sure we created an atmosphere as much as possible where they felt at home.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so glad that you guys shared that resource too, World Relief, because I know that it can be whatever your political view is. It doesn't matter. We love people, and I think I've had tons of questions from churches asking, like, hey, do you know how we can get involved to help serve refugees? What can we do? Where do we start? And every community is different, but I love that you guys shared that resource, because it's something that if you guys say it's trustworthy and it's great, and it's national. Is that what you guys said? Like, you can get involved anywhere?
They have offices, I don't know, not obviously in every city, but I feel like they would be a great resource even for someone they could maybe connect. Like if they are not in a city, or a town where a church is that wants to be a part, I feel like they could help make a connection.
Great. Okay, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
What was the last thing you said? Sorry.
That would be a great starting point.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So I'll figure out the link and we'll share that out, because I know there's definitely a lot of people wanting to get involved somehow, some way. So that's awesome. Seeking Refuge. Who's the author of that book, Miss Kelly? You know? I'm sorry. I'll look it up. I'm sorry.
Before today.
I'm sorry.
World Relief helped publish it, so it is most likely listed on their website as a resource. I believe. I think we ordered it through them. Okay. I think they ordered books got the book. We bought the books from them.
Cool. Okay, perfect. Man, y'all are like a wealth of knowledge. I love it so much. So practical. It's the best. Cool. So that is such a beautiful, beautiful expression of the heart of Jesus and why we do holidays. Holidays are like about celebrating each other, celebrating community, thanking Jesus for who we are. So, or for our lives. It's just cool. I think my favorite thing is just being able to capitalize on opportunities to love everyone. holidays are hard for some people. Like you guys know, people can be lonely, they can be going through stuff, and holidays can either like make or break stuff for people. So I think being able to identify people groups that are extra lonely or hurting is so important. So I was going to ask you guys, when you are planning holiday outreaches, there's so many different opportunities and ideas. Your whole church usually wants to get involved. You have an influx of extra volunteers that you don't even know what to do with usually. And then I'm just going to blitz, like off the top of my head, some ideas that I've seen happen. iTown Church does a Build-A-Bear workshop for Christmas. A lot of people do shopping malls, which we'll talk about one day soon. There's a church, I think it's Arkansas Dream Center, they do deep fried turkeys for the dinner. There's like so many exciting expressions. How do you guys find the formula that's right for you? What are the components that make it successful or not so successful?
First of all, that is a great question. And I think so often we just want to steal somebody's idea and put it into place. And that works sometimes, but it doesn't always work because each of our neighborhoods are unique and different. We've got friends out in Oklahoma City, and they have a dream center, but it's a little bit more spread out, more rural. And where we're in a very urban context, highly multi culture, multi-ethnic. So we have everything from Middle Eastern and African and Latino community, and then a lot of generational poverty right in our backyard. And when you have that mixture, you do have to be intentional. You have to decide what is going to affect the people that you're serving. Who are you going after? Who are you wanting to touch with the love of Christ? Maybe even what we've done is we've looked at even zip codes in our city and said, which ones are not receiving the love? So like the one in our backyard, there's tons of different nonprofits that are really, really serving that community. So we don't even serve the community in our backyard as much as we serve one right down the street because that community doesn't get as much of that. And so even evaluating, asking questions is so important. And so finding those community leaders, and they don't necessarily have to be elected officials. Yeah. Sometimes the greatest community resource is the grandma that's on the corner that knows everything that's going on in that community. And so finding those people, asking them those questions. What are your needs? What do you see as the greatest thing that we could do to add value to your community? And so I think that's the best way that we've found to be able to decide what are we going to do and why are we going to do that? Because I think that question why is so much more important than the question of what.
Yes.
That's so deep, Dr. Joe. You're my favorite. Starting with listening is one of my favorite philosophies that I've ever heard being taught. And I'm pretty sure you guys kind of like were the first ones to like open my ears to that. You listen first. And it really does open the doors to so much. How much, this might be like, I don't know. I got two questions right now. And you don't have to give it too specifically, but like what percentage budget-wise do you guys put towards holiday outreach? And then also, how much do you factor in the volunteer friendliness of, because sometimes you come across an opportunity and it's amazing and it's a big need in the community, but it's really hard to like get volunteers involved, and you want to make sure that there's a great intersection there, great opportunity for both. So how do you guys kind of use that balance? Does that make sense?
I think, as far as percentage of budget, so our holiday outreaches fall outside of our working budget as far as that, because we do a lot of things consistently weekly. And so these fall outside of it, and it really becomes opportunities for people to step in and just give towards the vision of whatever that outreach is going to be, whatever that event's going to look like. And I think, too, we've done some things, when we talk about listening, I think there are two groups of people you can listen to. You can listen to your community and those in your community, but you also can listen to your volunteers. And so a lot of times we'll get an email or we'll have someone come up at a weekend service and say, hey, I saw, I love this, or I have a heart for, really this refugee dinner came out of some of our church members that came to us and said, we have a heart for this community and we haven't really stepped into that yet. And so I think anytime you can marry the desire or passions of your volunteers with the needs of your community, look for ways to connect those. That's huge. And so that many times, while weekly we have some very specific things that we do, our feeding programs, our after school program, our baby store, clothes closet. Many times someone will have a passion outside of that. Somebody may have a passion for human trafficking. Well, how can we create something maybe around the holidays or around an event, around our Serve Day, whatever that is, where we can step into that and touch things that maybe we're not touching every week in our programming always. But I think those events are great. The holidays are great opportunities to step into a world. And we've had weekly things, develop out of one of these outreaches, one of these events.
And you never know. We're always looking for that champion. We have a very small staff. I'm sure most Dream Centers do as well. You don't have very many people that are paid. And so you're looking for who are the volunteers that can carry something. Well, if they don't have a passion for it, you really don't want them carrying something. And so this gives us an opportunity, I think, again, by doing different things, it gives you an opportunity to not only ignite that passion that they have, but actually see them step into a leadership role that God's called them to anyway, and we just didn't know it, and maybe they didn't even know it. It helps them discover what that is and what their capacity is.
Oh, so good. So good. I think it's cool that holidays can be, you guys said it, it's a time to let you try out new ideas, and it's hard to mess up holidays because if you have the spirit of Jesus and it's joyful, everybody's together, it's hard to mess it up. So why not try something new? It's not going to hurt anything. People want to get involved. And then I think it totally does. It surfaces new people, new ideas. It can be implemented throughout the year. Just letting people jump in. And really, I feel like, I don't know if you guys have experienced it the same way, but I feel like the best ideas just come out of nowhere. They just surface because people just show up and they're like, hey, I have an orchestra I can bring to the party. Where can I plug in? And you just discover so many jewels just because people are getting excited about it, and you just provided an opportunity. So that's so brilliant. And I love it so much. Are there any other things that you guys would say to make sure that are factored in to just choosing the right, not even just holiday outreach, but in general, where to go, what to do? Any other big features or components?
I think you touched on something when you mentioned volunteer friendly. I think it's important. I think communication is huge. I tell our volunteer coordinator, you can never over communicate. Right. You can't communicate too much with our volunteers as we're leading up to something we're going to do. So, I kind of, she laughs at me because I say, drive them crazy, just with information, because we don't want anyone, there's always going to be a few that kind of, miss the emails or miss the communication. But for the most part, you want people your volunteers to walk into whatever they're coming to serve at or whatever. You want them to walk in well informed, that they already know what to expect. They already know what area they're supposed to go to. I think if you have a large event, something like you mentioned, the shopping mall, or even a dinner where you're going to have groups of volunteers serving in different areas, they already know the person they're going to connect with, and in some way have that person identified, whether it's a different color shirt or like at Christmas. Our volunteers wear elf hats, but the area leaders wear a Santa hat. So it's just simple. You can get them at the dollar store, something that identifies them. And so I think just any way you can make it very easy for your volunteers to come, because what you want is you want those volunteers to want to come back. And I think when it's a very positive experience for them, they're going to want to come back and serve again and bring their friends and families.
That information is gold for sure, because I've definitely been on both sides of it and shown up and it's been chaos and felt useless and never wanted to go back. Luckily I did, because I'm here today. But yes, that's great. And the communication feature made me think of another question. As far as like, for me, I'm visual. I want to know like what was the fruit of what we did today. I know I came and served a bunch of hot dogs and I didn't really get to encounter someone personally, but how do you guys communicate the wins to even people who didn't get to make it to serve hands-on, communicating the stories? What does your social media plan look like, especially holiday wise? And then I'm sure on Sundays in church, Pastor John or whoever probably shares stories. So do you guys have like a team that covers stories? How do you collect them? What does all that look like for y'all?
So again, another great question, because I think it's so important, the stories. Jesus, half of his teaching, more than half of his teaching were stories. And I just think the story carries so much more than a statistic. And so it's real easy for some of us to focus on the statistics because they're easy to measure. And you can count them and you can measure them and you can decide, well, we did better than we did last year because we did more numbers. But sometimes you miss something in the process of collecting statistics. And so one of the things we do is we always send out a follow-up to every person who led a particular area of that outreach and say, please give us your, stories, your wins. Tell us your wins. So we gather those from the people that are right there, touching the people that we're serving. And sometimes those best stories are volunteers, God doing something in them, even more than doing something through them. And so sometimes that's your best win. Be able to tell people, communicate. This isn't just an opportunity for you to serve someone else. This is an opportunity for you to meet God in a new way, a way you've never met him before. And so, sharing that is so important. And we're learning. We're not very good at it. We don't have our church has a creative team, but they're stretched. And so sometimes we don't get the best photographer available or the videographer available for the event because we don't have that at the Dream Center. We're just not that size yet. And so we do the best we can sometimes with an iPhone. But just having some documentation, again, asking for those stories and then circulating them, making sure that people understand the wins. And even when the wins are so important that story can resurface next year. When you go to look for new volunteers, you can say, hey, this happened last year. Come be a part of doing this for somebody else.
Oh, that's so good. I didn't even think about that, but I have gone back to years past and featured stories and been so glad that we recorded them. And I love that you said, like, you don't have to wait for it to look perfect. You don't have to make it have this giant photography session. It's not about that. It's so important to tell the story because that's the proof. That is the proof that God is real and he's alive and no one can argue with it. So, and everyone can relate to the story, even if, I don't know, it's my favorite thing. So I stumble over my words because I'm so passionate about it. I love it. Okay, my last question kind of goes with this, but it is, if you guys could pick one story from specifically holiday outreaches, but if it's not that, it's cool, that just like really sticks out to you, each of you guys, one of your favorite, just cool, life change, whatever story.
Well, I'm going to go first because that way she doesn't steal my story.
Oh, smart. He's so smart.
So a couple of years ago at Christmas, we were doing a Christmas tree giveaway, and we happened to run across a family that their electricity was turned off. And just the being able to come in, they actually said, don't put the lights on the tree because we don't have electricity. The kids won't even be able to see it. But the kids were like, we want the lights. And they knew that we couldn't plug them in. There was no power to them. But it allowed us an opportunity to go to that next step, to be able to go and turn their electricity back on, to get their heat back on for the families. The children were coming to school and they were dirty because they couldn't wash their clothes and they couldn't take a bath because there was no hot water in the home. And you just don't realize sometimes what families are going through, and they're putting on a brave face and they're going through the motions, and they're trying to make it, and they're trying to do everything they can. And sometimes these little outreaches give us an opportunity to see behind the curtain and to really recognize that there is a need here beyond that surface. So if we're giving away a bottle of water, sometimes it's not the bottle of water that they're really, that's not the need you're meeting. You're really meeting something much deeper. And so I just think that's just one of my favorite things that's ever happened with one of our outreaches. So,
yeah. Oh, so powerful. I love that story. It's so beautiful. Miss Kelli, what's yours? What you got?
So I'm thinking about a family. There is a single mom that we've built a relationship with over the last several years. 6 children, living in a 1-bedroom, tiny house. When I say tiny house, it really is. And just for her to be able to come, the first year she came to our Christmas toy store, and she's come back every year. She broke down and cried and just wept because she said, my children have never had trees. Have never had gifts. Have never had gifts before for Christmas. And she said, and she just cried and said, I cannot wait to see. And I remember that first year she sent us pictures on Christmas morning. My phone started coming in with pictures of her children and just how excited they were and the looks on their faces. And I think for me, I go back and I can visualize those looks on those kids' faces and think, man, it is so worth it. Whatever you do, when you're able to put a smile on someone's face, and it's not even about the gift, it's about the love of Christ. And that's just the tangible way to show it, whatever that looks like. And so for me, that was just, I just love the fact that we were a part of this family's first time. And one of their children was 15 and he had never had a Christmas gift. Because she could never provide that. And so I love that story. And this family has become super special to us personally and at the Dream Center.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Y'all just put me in an emotional wreck over here. Does it ever just blow your mind though how you can just encounter someone's life, just a perfect stranger, and God just orchestrates these interactions, these divine appointments, and you're just how did I never not know this family? How did I ever not know this? I've been in so many random houses and just been brought to tears. I don't know. I'm just in awe that how God works it together. And I imagine some people I look at and I imagine what their heaven's going to look like. And I just try to picture the faces of the people that were reached. And I was just looking at y'all and thinking about when you guys get to heaven, there's going to be so many beautiful people surrounding you and just part of your kaleidoscope, as I call it. And I just love y'all's heart. I'm so in awe of God's story through you, and I look up to you so much. I just thank you so much for who you are. Y'all are heroes for real. Okay, that was my rant. I love y'all. If anybody wants to follow you guys on social media or get in touch with you for maybe some follow-up questions, what is the best way to do that?
Sure. So our emails are Kelli, Kelli, at Memphis Dream Center, all spelled out, .com, or Dr. Joe,
DRJOE,
at memphisdreamcenter.com. Our Memphis Dream Center telephone number is 901-207-5211. And so we love, and social media, is Instagram is at Memphis Dream Center CTR, or Memphis Dream Center, 3 words, has a Facebook page also. That people can follow. But we love talking outreach. We love sharing ideas. And so I would just tell anyone, never hesitate to reach out. We always feel like we learn something from you.
So please, no matter how small of what you're doing may seem to you, you may be teaching us something we would never have known. So please feel free to share. So as you follow us, we want to follow you back so we can learn from what you're doing. I just think that's how we grow. And that's the beauty of the body of Christ, that we're networked together in a way where we can do this together. You're not alone. I'm not alone. I get to see what you guys are doing. You guys get to see what we're doing. We're learning from each other. We're growing. And there's just always encouragement, because every one of us, Tori, I know you felt it. It sometimes gets hard to do ministry. You get tired, and you get tired of being stretched and pulled and not feeling like you have the resources that you need. And so we all experience that. But being able to do this together and see that somebody else is doing something that you've done, and maybe they learn from you, or you're learning from somebody else, and just a new little twist even on an old outreach is a great, it's a great thing to be able to do this together.
Yes.
That's so true. Thank y'all so much for your just humility and accessibility. I love that about you, and we wouldn't be friends if you weren't so humble and welcoming. So we're family, and I love that. And for real, people watching, reach out to these guys. They are heroes. Like, I can't say it enough. But thank y'all so much again for this wonderful discussion. I am taking away tons of notes personally, and I can't wait to share it with the world. And stay tuned, because we're getting Miss Kelli back on another Serve Brew coming up. More holiday talk. So love everybody. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time on the Serve Brew. Bye.
Bye, Tori.
Bye, Tori.
Love you guys.